Good morning, CSL. Welcome. We're glad to see all of you this morning. And you've just heard Bienvenido, Yangco play Amazing Grace, a traditional spiritual song. Welcome to Memorial Day. Memorial Day has been around for a long time, since 1868. It used to be celebrated on the 30th of May, and now it's celebrated on the last Monday in May. So we'd like to honor any veterans we have today. If you are a veteran, would you please stand and stay standing while we say something to you? So would the congregation repeat after me? We see you. We honor you. And we support your service with love. And now Mario Lorenz, you may be seated. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we're not only honoring our veterans today and people who have served in war, but also giving voice to those innocents we lost earlier this week in Uvalde, Texas. And at this time, I'd like Laura Bentel to do our opening prayer, and that will be followed by an original poem by Lucas Smiraldo.
Good morning, CSL Tacoma, and all you beautiful people and all you people at home who are here today, knowing I'm compelled to tell you, you all know that I'm an American Indian. So around the country, there are many powwows going on. It's a gathering to honor. We are going to honor our veterans, the ones that we have lost and the ones that are here today. And that just brings me great joy, great joy. So with that, if you care to close your eyes with me, and knowing that there is just one infinite, beautiful God that surrounds us today, that's in us today, that just envelops us with her love. Today is a day that we come together to honor the veterans, to honor each and every one of us who stand for the truth, for the equality, for inclusion. That is what we stand for. That is what I stand for today. Inclusiveness. Knowing that with that, God just envelops me. And if I know it for myself, I know it for each and every one of you. Thank you, Rev.Frances, for the words you're going to share today, because I know they are divinely inspired. I know the music has already filled my heart with joy that is smiling because of the beautifulness of this moment. Remember to stand tall, to not give in, to have those courageous conversations when needed, knowing that when I am true to myself and I am my authentic self, each and every one of you have it in you as well. I know this to be true. So please, with gratitude, with beautifulness, I release these words into the beautiful universe and the law of love. And with that, let us say, and so it is.
Let me begin with the practice of naming with this breath which has not been snatched from me. McKenna Lee Elrod, 10. Layla Salazar, 11. Miranda Mathis, 11. Nevaeh Bravo, 10. Jose Manuel Flores Jr., 10. Xavier Lopez, 10. Tess Maria Miata, 10. Elihana Eli Amya Garcia, 9. Alejandra A. Torres, 10. Annabelle Guadalupe Rodriguez, 10. Jackie Cesares, 9. Jace Carmela Luvuenos, 10. Mate Yulana Rodriguez, 10. Ayla Nicole Seguero, 10. Irma Garcia, teacher, 48. Eva Morales, teacher, 44. Mary Jo Garza, 10. Alexandria Lexi Amia Rubio, 10. Althea Ramirez, 10. Let me continue with the practice of naming. Pearl Young, 77. Ruth Whitfield, 86. Andre McNeil, 53. Catherine Cat Massey, 72. Celestine Cheney, 65. Marcus D. Morrison, 52. Hayward Patterson, 67. Aaron Salter Jr., 55, Roberta Drury, 32, Geraldine Talley, 62. Let me continue the counting and name this number, 19. The number of police officers that waited 45 minutes or 80 minutes or waited after many gunshots, after children trapped in the classroom called 911 and pleaded for someone to save them, after some parents outside demanded action and were handcuffed by the same police to go in until one woman had her cuffs removed, jumped a fence, ran into the same open door the police could have used, found her child, and saved them. All the while the police waited. But this is not a poem about police. It is in service to the names, the people, the lists, the bloat each day, bleed into the newsprint, the radio waves, the streams, the mass killings that threaten to double the days of our year, and you and I are the generation that waited. 400 million guns, 40% of all guns that civilians own across this planet, over 200 mass shootings so far in advance of June, 27 attacks at schools, 18-year-olds buying semi-automatic weapons and body armor, and another man-child in Buffalo smothered in subterranean algorithms of white supremacy and hate until he became the latest host to a 500-year virus that reached these shores in 1492, and once again in 1619, he devolved into what millions in this country are terrified to surrender: automatic. So this is more than the story of two 18-year-old men, if we can even say that word at that age. This is the abyss of automatic and waiting. And these are the names, not the bodies, but the souls of our grandparents and daughters and whimsical sons, gone to us like a lahar, sweeping away everything in its path and leaving us the bones of another list. Over 90% of the people in this country want background checks, and over 60% support banning assault weapons. There is no democracy for the people who wait, who settle, who surrender, while the automatic fortifies its barely now underground nation until the next and the next and the next, which likely is less than a day away. To all of you and all of me who are still waiting outside, we need to jump the fence or pull it all the way down, the chain link of filibusters, the hidden fear of a blacker America. We all have children in that school, grandparents in those stores, sisters in those synagogues, cousins in the beauty parlor, fathers in the sanctuary, and Elihana Eli Amya Garcia, Xavier Lopez, Layla Salazar, Celestine Cheney, Andre McNeil, and Irma Garcia and her husband Joe, who died 2 days after in grief after the shooting of a heart attack. Stop waiting.
In my dreams, you are alive and well, precious child, precious child. In my mind, I see you clear as a bell, precious child, precious child. In my soul, there is a hole that can never be filled. But in my heart, there is hope, 'cause you are with me still. In my heart, you live on, always there, never gone. Precious child, you left too soon. And though it may be true that we're apart, you will live forever in my heart. In my plans, I was the first to leave, precious child, precious child. But in this world, I was left here to grieve, precious child, my precious child. In my soul, there is a hole that can never be filled. But in my heart, there is hope, and you are with me still. In my heart, you live on, always there, never gone. Precious child, you left too soon. And though it may be true that we're apart, you will live forever in my heart. God knows I want to hold you, see you, touch you, and surely there's a heaven, so someday I will again. Please know you're not forgotten until then. In my heart, you live on, always there, never gone. Precious child, you left too soon. And though it may be true that we're apart, you will live forever in my heart.
morning. Huh. Say it's something that I've told you. The only thing I've called you is a friend. For this long time over, it's only in your mind you kill again. Heroes are forgotten. The use for them was only in their time. Let us drink to fallen comrades. Things have happened in our lives much worse than dying. Is that the kid you killed near Coochie when you thought a toy he had was a grenade? Or that old man out at Canaan wasn't anybody's life for you to save? Is it your friend from New York City? He finally killed the pain of this life's hell. You can't help it but remember, and there's no one here to understand or tell. Initiation rites. We turned 21 in Vietnam. Initiation rites. Some of us survived to come back home. Some of us are left to wander through our lives and through this world all alone. Is it the dream you had of dying in a river of the blood you thought you'd spill? You can't forget you were a killer, no matter how you try to hide those thoughts with pills. Is it the whiskey or the heroin to kill the pain nobody understands? Is it the standing on the outside where you cannot see a brotherhood of man? Initiation rites. We turned 21 in Vietnam. Initiation rites. Some of us survived to come back home. Some of us are left to wander through our lives and through this world all alone. Now it's early morning. Throw our bottles hard against the wall. With a broken glass comes tears. Tears so long you're not allowed to fall. How can 1 year turn to 50? Still those memories will not leave you alone. Our lives are like those shattered bottles, and there's no place on this earth we can call home. Initiation rites. We turned 21 in Vietnam. Initiation rites. Some of us survived to come back home. Some of us are left to wander through our lives and through this world all alone. Some of us are left to wander through our lives and through this world all alone. Here's a couple of characters you have probably seen in the streets. It's Thanksgiving Day. The war is still raging. Joe and the Jarhead are out in the street. They carry a message on each of their faces that these times of war could be times of defeat. And it's dinner tonight at St. Leo's. It was lunch at the presbytery. They'd take their meals when lost and heartbroken, then return to their anonymity. Now Joe is a ranger, Eric's desert storm. The Jarhead's been home now for nearly a year. There's no place for soldiers except in the war. For them it's all over except for the tears. Now it's nearly midnight and Jarhead is talking. He still believes they could set Erik free. How if he could? For sure he'd still be there if the faces of the dead would just let him be. And tonight there's no room at the shelter. There's a place where the cops let them be. The November wind blows cold down the street and sings in the tops of the trees. Man, you're talking crazy. What the hell you been smoking? It never was a war that set anyone free. Many people we killed were innocent civilians, and someone got rich off of their liberty. Now Joe's kind of quiet. He says to Jarhead, Tom, I've been running to try to be free. I left my family where they were in danger. I wish it were not, but the danger was me. Now the city is dark, the wind blows through the streets. It's November, the Jarhead says, Joe, it might freeze. Tom, I don't know, maybe it don't serve me right if this November wind blows me out in the trees. And tonight there's no room at the shelter. There's a place where the cops let them be. The November wind blows cold down the street and sings in the tops of the trees. Yeah, the November wind blows cold down the street and sings in the tops of the trees. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve and Kristi. So, today we're going to look at how we remember those who've passed in service to their country, of the innocents who've passed. And I don't know about you, but when I watch the news on television, I'm thinking, what is wrong with humanity? What's happened to our moral compass, to our heart? Reports on the massacre in Ukraine, murder, rape, torture, lies, political deceit, violence, robbery, climate disasters. It is overwhelming. Rare minerals mined for our endless consumption. And then ads pop up showing how happy humans are with the latest pharmaceuticals, or if we could just bundle our insurance, how perfect our world would be. Sometimes I feel spiritually challenged by Sandy Hook, El Paso, Buffalo, and Uvalde. Why does God allow such things? Why the death of innocents? Why do some survive? We really want God to show up and explain him or herself to us. Rabbi Kushner said, God may not have intended these things, but he or she is there amidst the carnage for comfort and consolation. My trust in God doesn't guarantee my safety, but it does empower me against fear. What can be done to stop the madness? Do we have societal PTSD? The after effects of war are so profound. I remember my college roommate. She was brilliant, a literature major, but she married a Vietnam War veteran. She was the daughter of a 4-star brigadier general who ran Bergstrom Air Force Base in Austin, Texas. He was in the Doolittle raid, one of those famous airmen that managed to survive behind the lines. And she wrote short stories about her parents who shut out wars and trauma with alcohol. And one of the stories was called Swizzle Stick. Anyway, her Vietnam veteran husband was Charlie Loving, and he was very unloving. He was crazy and abusive, and eventually they divorced 6 years later. But she took out her rage by joining the Weathermen. And her brigadier general father disowned the entire family. I did a memorial service on Thursday at the National Cemetery with full military honors, and it was very moving. I don't know if you've ever seen a military service, but they spend about 30 minutes folding a flag, and it's very deliberate and serious. And of course there were shots that rang out, and it was quite an honor to be a part of that service. I did, of course, the spiritual part. They did the military part, and the person we were honoring served in World War II on the Pacific Front. And his son had carried his ashes and his mother's ashes for over 40 years, and they had never done a tribute to him. So he finally arranged for this service to take place. And he suffered from PTSD after World War II, because when the airmen on the Pacific Front were awakened to go on a bombing mission, all the lights went on. It was very shocking. And for years after World War II, if the lights were turned on, he would have an anxiety attack. He self-medicated with alcohol and died young at age 62, but he was able to counteract the PTSD with community service and a loving relationship with his wife, and his children were remarkably successful and acquired many of his wonderful attributes. In 2001, a woman showed up at CSL and took my foundations class. She suffered PTSD because she said she was the one in charge of loading the bombs with low-level nuclear material. They were dropped by U.S. airplanes in Iraq in the early 90s, before the Iraq War. All she could think about were the children who most certainly had received radiation poisoning. And this was a top secret mission and has not been revealed to Americans really. Still, really few people know about it today. And after class, she disappeared. Another CSL member was friends with 2 female generals who were stationed at the Pentagon during 9/11. And I was invited to dinner to meet them, these 2 women, generals. And they told how they were sworn to secrecy, could never discuss the Pentagon bombing. And none of the people at the Pentagon on that day could get counseling. And so 2 months later, in a form of protest at Christmas time, both generals resigned from their military careers. Preemptive action. You remember the movie with Tom Cruise called Minority Report, which was about a special police unit with 3 psychics who were kept in a pool of water, who would pick up telepathically the criminal intentions of individuals. And the idea was to preemptively arrest people before a crime was committed. 2 of the women usually agreed, but often a 3rd woman represented the minority report. And the film ended with the idea that people were always capable of redemption. And while they might have started out with violent thoughts, in the end, they could change their minds and would not carry out their horrible intentions. So that special psychic unit was dissolved. After the memorial service on Thursday, we went to La Quinta with the family whose memorial we just done, and we got into a discussion about everything that was going on in the world and involved the entire restaurant. We are in this therapy group. But we talked about what could be done to prevent these massacres. And of course, the first recommendation was to ban all assault weapons, AR-15s. In fact, in Australia, after an assassin killed 35 people and wounded 27 others in Australia, both national and state governments banned possession and sale of assault weapons. And the reduction in mass shootings in Australia has been remarkable as a result of just that one action. I saw a girl on TV who'd been at Sandy Hook, now all grown up at age 20, demanding that the politicians pay attention to the assault weapon issue. It's not mental health, she said, although it's probably both. It's guns. There are things we can do, and the gun lobby doesn't have the final say. So the other thing that I thought about this week was about not glorifying people with values that aren't worthy of honor. Pierce County was named for Franklin Pierce, and he supported slavery. And his vice president was named King, and he also advocated for slavery. And more recently, I've learned that they wanted to conquer and annex Cuba. So the Cubans are upset too. King County just renamed the county not after Vice President King, but after Martin Luther King. So there's a whole movement afoot in Pierce County to rename our county. So I think it's important to name things with names that are honorable and just. But on the other hand, it's important to remember that no matter what is happening in our journey that we call life, from the loss of a loved one to the birth of a baby, from a diagnosis of cancer to a clean bill of health, from the demise of a 20-year marriage to the blush of new love, no matter what is happening in this journey called life, God is present. And as we listened to taps earlier, we all know that that's used at military funerals, and it's also understood by servicemen and women as an end-of-day lights-out signal. We're familiar with the melody, but we may not have thought about the words. And they go, day is done, gone the sun, from the lakes, from the hills, from the sky, all is well, safely rest, God is nigh. Fading light dims the sight, and a star gems the sky, gleaming bright. From afar, drawing nigh, falls the night. Thanks and praise for our days neath the sun, neath the stars, neath the sky as we go. This we know, God is nigh. God is nigh. God is nigh in times of trouble, times of challenge, in times of grief. God is nigh in times of confusion and in times of clarity. Ernest Holmes said beautifully in the Science of Mind textbook, there's a divine presence at the center of things, and it ought to be so real to us we feel it everywhere, in everyone, in every situation. In other words, we ought to be able to remember God is nigh. And in our remembering of it, we would feel it. Ernest Holmes said, I shall never die, for spirit within me is eternal. And if you need to explore that idea, Do it in whatever way would be meaningful for you. So while life is eternal, it does have a shelf life. And we never know when that will come around. So let's make our lives count. George Burns once said, when I talk about thinking young, I'm talking about enthusiasm, keeping active, having plans and projects, meeting people, doing things. A lot of people are too quick to decide that their life is over. And if you really think your life is over and you have no place to go, George Burns said, I advise you to take very short steps. It will take longer to get there. And with a positive attitude and a little luck, there's no reason why you can't live to be 100. Once you've done that, you've really got it made, because very few people over 100 die. So, well, there are several spiritual practices that can be used to help us when we feel stressed and anxious. One of my favorite writers, I'm surprised our movement hasn't picked up on this, because she is a practitioner. She wrote a book called Divine Revelation, which is one of my favorite books. And when she feels out of sorts, she sits down and calls upon a divine power, a divine being, or even an angel, and asks to be taken into deep meditation. And then she takes a couple of breaths and settles into an inner state of peace and relaxation. And she asks a question for guidance, or for help with a problem, or for healing, or for relief from stress. And then she takes another deep breath and practices her do nothing program, which is just being open to receive. And somehow an answer comes through a vision, through a word or feeling. Nate Battle uses countermeasure actions. He walks around a room and is thankful for each step he takes, and he does this until he feels grateful. So this morning, as we create a deeper consciousness and remember those who served our country, we also can remember that PTSD can be reversed, that preemptive action is spiritual, and that we can experience peace, and that in each and every situation, God is nigh. And I wanted to conclude with a poem that was written by an ordinary 19-year-old son of a friend who enlisted in the Navy several years ago and wrote this poem the night before he shipped out for Iraq. It was called My Feelings. It's time to go to work now, just another day. Only difference is my work hurts and makes people bleed. Protecting the United States is my job. I feel I do it well. Only problem is that when I die, is it heaven or hell? I volunteered for this job knowing full of its threat. I cannot and will not come home till the mission is met, but I don't know why I do it. For recognition, not so. And when it's time to leave, it's a simple time to go. It's weird how I feel right now. Leaving the ones I love, a feeling I can't explain, a feeling sent from above. Why there's war, I don't know. To separate wrong from right, if that's the case, then I'm confused, because it's just a bigger fight. Why can't we learn to love more, like we were always brought up? There is too much to look forward to, like watching your child grow up. I'd like to take the time out now to thank everyone I know. Your different paths of life certainly helped me grow. I'm being watched over for certain, of this I'm confident. I know I'm being looked out for. I feel the love. I'm not scared to go to war. It's my duty. Where does the courage come from? I don't know where or how. I'll come home soon, but it's no guarantee. This feeling that I feel right now is surely you loving me. God bless you. Thank you. And so we have a wonderful song, If Peace Will Come, from Steve and Kristi.
The wars run long, the wars run deep. Tell me how long till the white dove sleeps. Our young men killed, our young men died. Could someone please give me just one good reason why? See the bombs fall down, hear the children cry, hear the mother ask her God to give her one good reason why. Feel the searing heat and the concussion blast. The children cry no more, their mother's life is past. Peace will come, mustn't lie in wait. His peace, a ghost, a puff of smoke, is war, our chosen fate. May peace may come, may peace run long, may peace run like a river deep inside this song. The wars run through years, they'll run how many more? More civilians die, who can say what for? Young soldiers hurt, they take their own lives. Could someone please give me just one good reason why? You know that war is corrupt, they help create big lies. The oligarchs of war grow rich under these empire skies. Death and destruction come, you hear the mothers cry. Can't you feel their pain? Is that something you deny? Peace will come, mustn't lie in wait. His peace, a ghost, a puff of smoke, is war, our chosen fate. May peace may come, may peace run long, may peace run like a river deep inside
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve and Kristi. So it's time for our offering, and would the ushers come forward, please? We like to say the blessing that's written in your program. And so together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is. And we have a special treat, and that is a Shokin Farewell, which was the soundtrack from Ken Burns' Civil War movie, written by J. Unger and played by Bienvenido, Yangco.
all I have to say, I am just filled with all kinds of emotions, all kinds of feelings that I know that we are not alone, that I know. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you for your beautiful, beautiful words. I had a vision that that's what I wanted to do today. So thank you for doing that. We have lost so much of innocence. We have lost so many of our servicemen who protect our country, to our law enforcement, though they're not perfect, protect us. Give thanks. Give thanks. Rev.Frances, thank you for your words, and you were talking about the renaming. I want to just say that we're trying to rename the beautiful one. I do not call her Rainier. Rainier never stepped foot in the state of Washington. It is Tahoma. Look at her and wonder. She is the beautiful one. She is the spiritual one. So as we stand on Mother Earth, with that, knowing that all is just God, God in human form that is in me, as I also like to say, the Prince of Joy. I know that we are enveloped in his love. I know there is only one. And with the healing that needs to take place in our country, in our world, know that it can start with us. It starts with me. How am I coming about? If you have challenges in your life, if you have health issues, if you have trauma, know that there is help. There is help not only with the Spirit, the sunlight of that Spirit. We here at CSL have practitioners can help you walk through anything. That is my calling. That I know is precious. That I know that it comes through the musicians, that healing. As it comes through the words of Rev.Frances, those are healing words. Those we can take out from here to make the day as beautiful as the starlight. Know that God is within. God is within. So may you go out and walk in the sunlight of the Spirit and be all you can be. I am a grateful one. I walk in gratitude. And may you go out and walk in gratitude. I'm going to release these words into the beautiful law, the law of love, the law of joyfulness. And know that I love each and every one of you, because love is all I have. So with that, let us say, and so it is.
Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me, to me. Too late, my time has come, send shivers down my spine. Body's aching all the time. everybody. I've got to go. Gotta leave you all behind and face the truth. Mama, I don't wanna die. I sometimes wish I'd never been born at all. Oh, baby, can't do this to me, baby. Can't do this to me, baby. Just gotta get out, just gotta get right out of here. Nothing really matters, anyone can see. Nothing really matters. Nothing really matters to me.
Oh, thank you very much, Karen. That song was reinvented by Angelina Jordan, and she was 13 and won America's Got Talent. And I just loved it. I had to do it today. Anyway, we've got a couple of announcements. Where is Pam? She's in the back. This is our event that's coming up July 16th. It's our fundraiser. It's called Graceland, and we've got a fabulous Elvis impersonator coming, as well as a 50s style dinner, silent live auction, and Dane Norman is going to play, and we're also going to have a sock op. So we want you there. And if you're interested in, and are willing to fill a table, we also are looking for table captains. We now have 3, and we need 10. So, but Pam has individual tickets that you could purchase today, and either by credit card, cash, or check. And so see her. She's she's holding the high watch for this service, and she's right there. So, or you can go online to our website and purchase tickets. But she's got these beautiful little tickets today. We, of course, have meditation on Thursday nights. Coming up on Saturday, June 11th, is the Quantum Forgiveness Workshop with me and Matthew, and it's from 9 to 4. You can register online. And then later on June 25th, Love is a Beacon is the first workshop with Darlene Green. She's an author of 3 books, and you get a beautiful workbook with this. It's $45, and then there's 2 other standalone workshops that are part of it. Then on the last Sunday of the month, we have Anton Mizrak and Laura Berryhill coming to do a service called Music and Myth. They're doing both the messages as well as the music. And then they're doing a concert afterwards for a love offering at 12:45. So you won't want to miss that. You'll see coming up, we'll have a whole catalog of classes coming up soon, probably on the first Sunday in June, so you can see what's coming down the pipe. Those are the announcements. We're going to join together now in singing our closing song, which is This Is My Song, written by Sibelius, and the words are by Lloyd Stone. So do you want to stand up? Let's sing this song.
This is my
Thank you very much. See you next week. God bless you. And be sure and talk to Pam.